The countdown to the Australian Grand Prix continues, and today being Friday, the 6th day of March in 2026, it only means that now we have 2 days to the first race of the Formula 1 season in 2026, which is going to take place on Sunday at Albert Park, Melbourne, Australia. And the best thing about today is that we are going to have FP1 and FP2, basically free practice sessions. And what that means is that we are going to have Formula 1 cars on track as teams and drivers start their program for this particular weekend, testing their cars and ensuring that they are optimizing their setups. A number of factors are definitely going to inform how the teams approach this particular weekend. And one of that factor when it comes to the Australian Grand Prix is usually the rains, because the weather can be very unpredictable in Melbourne. But if you ask me, I would actually prefer a dry race. I would want to probably see how these cars would perform in the entirety of the 58 laps in Australia. But of course you cannot control the weather, and so we might get a dry race or it might end up being a wet race. And I'm not sure there are any teams that probably have tested these new cars under a wet condition. So I don't know how that would go, but probably it would be a very great experience, and maybe the weather might throw some spanners into the works. If this is the first time that you and I are meeting, I am Joe, and on this YouTube channel, I talk about Formula 1 and the business of Formula 1. And I would really appreciate it if you could consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. The Formula 1 season in 2026 is actually starting when there is already an ongoing situation in the world, and this is a situation that also affects Formula 1. When you consider that the airspace in the Middle East was closed, with some teams probably being stuck in the region before the start of the Australian Grand Prix, and also considering that the Bahrain Grand Prix and the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix are going to take place in that region in the course of April, that of course raises a few issues, because if the situation will not have been resolved by that time, that means that the 2 races in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia might end up being cancelled or being postponed. And probably Qatar might also get into the action later in the year if this particular situation prolongs for that long. The other issue that has emerged, and this is probably more concerning, is the fact that Aston Martin are having what you can only consider to be a nightmare start of this particular season, because they have already disclosed that they might not be able to do the entire race on Sunday, which means they are going to run a very limited kind of a program, with the drivers like Fernando Alonso already indicating that they probably can only be able to do 25 laps. What this means is that Aston Martin might end up being the first team that is going to have a double DNF in the Formula 1 season of 2026. Because with the race being 58 laps on Sunday, and them only being able to do a maximum of 25 laps, it means they will not be able to complete the race. And this clearly indicates that Aston Martin are starting this particular season at a place where they probably had not hoped to be in. Many people had high hopes, given that they have invested a lot in the team. They have very good personnel, including team principal Adrian Newey. And while this might be probably what you can call, a storm in a teacup, it is certainly a very big storm, because they are not starting at the best place that you would wish they were. But it is hoped that over the course of the next couple of races, and probably over the course of the season, they will be able to solve the problems that they are facing, and they will be in a good place to start competing for points and securing top positions during the race or during a race weekend. This is going to be it for this particular video. I hope you have found value. Watch the video on your screen right now. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not, and I'm going to see you in my next video.